All right, welcome everybody. Got a good crew here with us today, so we're gonna just kind of jump right in. Everybody knows I'm Jamie Cope with the WVU Industrial Extension, and we're happy to have everybody here. Dave Carrick with our group is going to be talking about supply chain and some fancy stuff that we've got coming up with that. So if you have any questions, go ahead and just drop those into the chat, but we'll also be open for questions later. Looks like this is a pretty good sized group. If you ever want to unmute and ask a question, just go for that as well. Dave's happy to answer as we go along. So I'll just get out of the way and let you run with it, Dave.
Thanks, Jamie. And if I don't have the answers, I'll make something up that's kind of believable until I can get the answer. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. What we're going to be talking about today is the Supply Chain Optimization and Intelligence Network. This is a program that, for those of you who know us, we're part of a national network I'll explain shortly. This is a nationwide effort we're participating in to help strengthen the U.S. domestic supply chain. The whole purpose of today is to kind of give you an overview of what's coming, because you're going to be seeing some stuff coming from us via email, our website, our newsletter, and some other methods. And we really want to engage everybody. So we kind of wanted to display the landscape out to what we're going to be doing here and answer any questions we could up front. So for those of you that don't know us, we're the West Virginia University Industrial Extension. With WVU being a land-grant institution, they are required to give back to the state, and they do that through a number of ways, including their extension programs. You might be familiar with 4-H, the agriculture extension, the mining extension, health and safety. We're the industrial side of that, so we work with manufacturers throughout the state. The other side of what we do is part of the MEP National Network. We serve as the state's sole representative to the NIST Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program. The reason we both of those hats is because the industrial extension mission and that of the MEP are very similar. It's to help small and medium-sized manufacturers grow and strengthen their footprint in their respective markets, help make them aware of new technological enhancements, advancements in manufacturing, pretty much everything you need to grow and sustain and become stronger in today's marketplace. So when I talk about that MEP National Network, there's a center in all 50 states and Puerto Rico, as you can see on the map here. Throughout the 50 states and Puerto Rico, we have about 430 service locations, so different offices, training centers, things like that. And last time I checked, we're just under 1,500 manufacturing experts across that network. So from what you can see, what we do here in West Virginia as the Industrial Extension is just a small part of what the entire nation has available. And this SCOIN program is something that will help bring all that together and allow us to leverage those resources of our colleagues in other states. So I want to start off with a quick poll question. Have you experienced any supply chain issues in the past 3 years? All right, so it looks like everybody that's responded has, and that's no surprise. You know, living through the pandemic and everything that we learned from that, supply chain became a really big concern. So why is your supply chain important? Well, first and foremost, inventory control. If you think about your supply chain and what you need to produce your products, provide your service, if you have more than you need, you have to find something to do with that. So it's taking up floor space, it's taking up space that other processes could be using, cost control. When you're buying inventory, you're buying things from your supply chain, you're not making money off of them. You've spent money, but you haven't made that money yet because you haven't processed them and been paid for them by your customers. From a quality perspective, a mismanaged supply chain can result in quality concerns such as damaged product, maybe subpar products. If you have issues with supply chain, you may have to go to a secondary or tertiary vendor who may not meet the quality standards that you wish they would. That can lead to customer satisfaction issues. If you don't have the parts and the components you need to make something, your customers are going to look elsewhere. Or if you provide them with something of lesser quality, they may look elsewhere. Not having a proper supply chain in place minimizes the ability for you to be agile. When I talk about agility, you think about what happened during the pandemic, how many of the breweries and distilleries started making hand sanitizer, how many companies that worked in plastics were making face shields and helping the medical people responding and the first responders. A lot of those companies were able to do that because they had a supply chain in place that allowed them to pivot on a dime to meet those new requirements. And lastly, your competition. If you don't have a proper supply chain in place, you're going to be chasing the competition versus leading it. So when I talk about this initiative, we're just going to start off front. What's in it for you? The national network that we're going to work through to do this is going to provide potential opportunities for you to receive new business through supplier scouting, which is something we'll talk about later in the slide deck. Supplier scouting creates potential saving opportunities for challenging parts and processes. So things you may be struggling to make, maybe you have only one vendor, you're not happy with the pricing, the delivery. This will give you an opportunity to leverage this program and help alleviate some of that stress on you. As part of the research we're going to be doing, it provides an opportunity for your voice to be heard about your challenges and opportunities. And lastly, it's going to allow you to play an important role in how West Virginia is viewed on a national stage. I've been with the center for about 15 years now, and one of the things I absolutely love about this job is working with the small manufacturers. I'm always surprised at the types of things that are made here that you would never have any idea unless somebody told you. That skill set, the people, what makes West Virginia special, this is our chance to talk about that on a national stage. So I want to make sure we do that in a proper way and we get the information straight from the people who do it. So let's start out with the Supply Chain Optimization Intelligence Network goal. That's a lot of words. It's SCOIN for short. The goal is to create a national ecosystem to support and grow U.S. manufacturing by making more connections along the supply chain. This program is funded through the CHIPS and Science Act. It's a 2-year program, and we anticipate that it'll go on at the end of those 2 years based on what we find out. What we want to do with this is expand the existing MEP national network centers capacity to provide services focused on supply chain. So when you think about what the Industrial Extension does and our colleagues around the country, we all work in similar areas such as quality systems, workforce, continuous improvement, health and safety, leadership, cybersecurity. There's not a lot of focus on supply chain. So we're hoping to take advantage of this opportunity and the money provided to us through the CHIPS and Science Act to change that. So what is a supply chain optimization and intelligence network? Well, from the optimization perspective, it's looking at the domestic manufacturing capabilities, expanding research related to supply chain risk to understand what those risks are, identifying the hidden costs associated with offshoring suppliers, looking at opportunities to redesign products and processes to encourage reshoring, maybe expanding the services and capabilities we currently have to bring more work back stateside, and also looking at the critical technology and foundational capabilities necessary for growth and success. You know, in manufacturing, we're going through a very interesting time with artificial intelligence, robotics, new sensors. It's kind of the fourth industrial revolution to some degree. So there's a lot of exciting things happening, and we need to figure out how to leverage that. The intelligence network side of that is, as a national network, we're going to identify the gaps, weaknesses, strengths, and opportunities that we learn from that research so we can develop strategies and programs to build and strengthen the manufacturing supply chain. What we hope to do with all that is develop a national plan that can be used as a guide for policy and investment in U.S. manufacturing. I can tell you from our time during the pandemic, the White House and Congress were very impressed with what the MEP network did and how they supported everything through the pandemic. So we've got their attention now, and we want to make sure we're taking advantage of that attention to help support manufacturing in the country. So once all this is done, our goal as an MEP center is to identify and establish new service offerings, optimize local and national supplier network capabilities, collect and analyze supplier capability and capacity data, map local network supplier network ecosystems throughout West Virginia, identify the original equipment manufacturers and what gaps they may have in their supply chain, and address those gaps by connecting them to some of the other smaller, medium-sized manufacturers in the state that can help them. And also track something called supplier scouting opportunities to create introductions and services. So I want to throw another poll question out here. Have you considered the impact to your business should your suppliers experience supply chain issues? All right, good. It looks like most of you have. And it's always a good thing to do because you never know what's going to happen, who's going to go out of business, who's going to have a problem. When you think about some of the other things going on in the world today with the natural disasters, the hurricanes, flooding, the wildfires we had out west, those types of things you don't think about that could drastically impact your supply chain. So as we talked about the supply chain optimization and intelligence network, that's kind of the research side of what we're going to do with this. We want to dive deep and understand what the supply chain looks like in West Virginia and contribute those findings to our national network to paint a broader picture across the country. The other side of this is called supplier scouting. It's a tool to promote domestic manufacturing and reshoring to keep millions of dollars of supply chain production in the U.S. What it does is increase visibility and creates opportunities as a supplier or in developing your supply chain for required parts and processes. With the extensive center relationships and knowledge of manufacturing that we have across our network, we can connect companies to domestic manufacturers to help build their supply chain. The best way to get started with this, we have a short survey. It's called a Assistance Discovery Intake Form. It's 8 questions. You can answer it via your computer, phone, tablet, whatever device you have handy. What it allows us to do is understand who the point of contact is so we know who to reach out to when opportunities come in. It lets us understand the markets and industries that you serve, the capabilities and services you provide, any certifications you may have, like ISO quality system, AS for, I think, aerospace, automotive, whatever types of certifications, maybe good manufacturing practices if you're in the food industries, HACCP, and so on. And also, more importantly, understand the types of opportunities you're interested in. Are you looking to build on what you already do? Are you looking to get into new lines of business? And also learn about the challenges related to business growth and expansion from your perspective. As I said, that's a short survey. It takes maybe 5 minutes to complete, nothing too intrusive. Then once we get to the actual supply scouting program, what this does is this takes for an example that you need something that you're having a hard time getting or you're having an issue with the current supplier. What this will do is allow us to collect the information you see here, the contact information, a description, manufacturing processes, sizes, tolerances, materials, certifications, regulations, volume, pricing, timeline, delivery, all those core things you need to know to provide something. And what that'll do is go out to our national network, to those 1,500 people across all 51 centers. And it'll say, hey, this person is looking for this. Do you know anybody that can do it? Once that's distributed, we look around, we look through our databases in each center, and we try to identify companies who can provide that service for you. So as you can see here, this is the general timeline for how it works. It takes about 45 days. We start with that intake form that I discussed, and then we complete the synopsis I just explained. Once it goes out to the network and they find people who are interested, we submit that through our internal databases that connect all 51 of us together. That information is aggregated and sent back to us as a MEP center to work with you to make those introductions. So the next thing after that would be you reach out to the companies and you start to vet them. So it's really, in a way, kind of a clearinghouse or a matchmaking service. And like I said, it works both ways. We can use this to help you find things, or we can help you match with people who are looking for things. What I can tell you so far is it's been very successful. And as Jamie can attest, we've seen anything and everything submitted through this. We just had somebody looking for someone to help manufacture a barbecue grill. And about a week prior to that, there was some rather advanced electronic equipment that NOAA was looking for to bring back stateside from China. So if you have anything in mind or you're interested in doing any of this, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because there's no ask too big or too small. So as I kind of come towards the end of this, what we're looking to do over this 2-year program, in this first year, the research I talked about through the SCOIN side of this, we want to understand the capabilities that we have in state, and we want to build a supply chain asset inventory for West Virginia to say, okay, if somebody needs a machine part, here's every company we know in West Virginia that can make machine parts. Maybe it's a special material. Well, okay, who can work in those materials? The intake form I mentioned is part of our supplier readiness assessment. It's that short 8-question survey. to help us understand who's willing to expand, who has the capabilities or the interest. There are a lot of companies that are just happy doing what they're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to collaborate with key stakeholders and clients to facilitate educational events statewide. We're currently working on an e-learning module just to provide the overview of supply chain. It'll be a 5-event series based from nothing about supply chain up through having a better idea of how to position your company. And from that, we hope to build some service modules based on identified gaps and interest to grow the supply chain education and resiliency in the state. Now, assuming everything goes well in that first year, and we hope it does, we're going to look at maybe adding somebody as a supply chain manager to our center to help work with companies every day in the state to do this. We're going to utilize internal data that we've learned in that first year, including those capabilities and capacities to connect manufacturers to opportunities through the supplier scouting network and internally. Document West Virginia's manufacturing supply chain ecosystem to create opportunity, and also develop formal educational programs and services to offer to West Virginia manufacturers. So again, as I started out with, we'll kind of wrap up here towards the end. What's in it for you? It's a potential opportunity to receive new business through supplier scouting. Supplier scouting creates potential savings opportunities for challenging parts and processes, and can also help to grow your business. Through SCOIN, it'll give you an opportunity to voice your supply chain challenges and opportunities on a platform where they'll be heard. And lastly, an opportunity to play a role in how West Virginia is viewed on a national stage, bringing attention to the qualities that make West Virginia manufacturing so successful. So I know I went through a lot of stuff in a short amount of time there, so we'll open it up for any questions. If anything doesn't make sense, or if there's anything I can explain further, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. If you want to go over just a little bit more step by step on how somebody who wants to engage with this, what's the easiest thing for them to do? Let's talk about that.
Sure, great question, Jamie. Thank you. So if you're interested in participating in the supplier scouting program, reach out to Jamie or myself. We'll talk with you to understand what you're looking to do and what you would like to have scouted. We'll complete that document with you, and then we take it from there. We submit it to our national network. We monitor the activity. We get the resulting report. Then we sit down and go through that with you to see if it meets your needs. If not, we can refine the search and do it again, or we can go ahead from that point and make the introductions.
Oh, great. And there are no other questions in the chat. We'll give everybody one last chance to speak up.
And one thing I will add, if you're interested in a short phone call with me, maybe 15, 20 minutes to talk about your supply chain challenges and opportunities, please let me know. I'm happy to do that. And I would love to have information directly from our manufacturers.
If we got a question from Kelly. Hey, Kelly. She says, is this for distributors? So, yep. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Absolutely. Traditionally, the MEP National Network, well, if you're familiar with NAICS codes, the National Association of Industrial Classification System, we typically work with the numbers 31 through 33, which were just for manufacturing. This year, starting late this year, they've opened that up to take into account distribution centers and a few others that are outside the manufacturing scope. So if there's somebody you know of, or do you have any more questions about it, let me know. We can definitely have a talk offline and see what we can do to help you.
And I'm going to speak up for Kelly and say that she is painfully aware of NAICS codes.
Some people are, some people aren't. So, oh, you're welcome.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Jamie. Hi, David. How are you?
Good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. I got a question. Jamie and I have worked on a couple projects recently where it's sort of similar, but instead of looking for a supplier for somebody, we've got somebody who has a byproduct they're trying to sell. Do you think that's something that this database would be able to help with that issue? Maybe not now, but maybe in a later version?
Absolutely. We've had a few come through that are entrepreneurs who have a great idea, but they don't know where to go to have it manufactured or have it assembled. So we could certainly, when you're ready, let me know. We'll talk and we'll submit it and see what we can find for you.
Now, I think Kevin's talking more like we've got some slag that we're trying to find a home for.
Oh, I'm
Just
sorry. I'm
like
sorry.
that.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I'm aware.
no, that's good.
I'm gonna say yes. Again, when the time comes, let me know. I'll reach out to the folks in charge and get their input on it. If we can't help through this, there's another network tool I can use to put that information out there.
Okay.
So we could definitely get it out to all the other 50 centers.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen anything like that come across yet, but I think that it wouldn't be too far out of bounds. That part. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, if no one else has any questions, we thank you guys for joining us. And as Dave said, never hesitate to reach out. And yeah, great job, Dave. And thanks, Tracy, for helping set all this up. So we will be sending out a recording of this soon and some other information with it as well. But like I said, the best way to get direct information is to just reach out to us. So we're happy to talk anytime.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, everybody.